The controversy is real. Counting calories versus not counting calories.
Sounds controversial.
What is the correct approach to weight loss? Help me lose 63 pounds in 6 months without having to count calories. I'm gonna lay out each of these 5 steps, so you better pay attention, as missing one of these steps could result in failure of losing weight.
Okay, everyone, listen up.
And listen carefully and go back if you don't understand it. So the first step is this. You need to understand how to get fat adapted is you need to do some sort of fasting.
It has never been about calories.
Now, fasting is going to be the foundation of these 5 tips. So it's very important you understand this concept. Now, with fasting, you need to be only eating in a 4-hour window.
Now that ain't too hard.
That means pretty much you're not eating the whole day. Now, the reason why I say a shorter duration is because ultimately you want to get down to 1 meal a day where you're pretty much eating only 1 hour in a day. But to start off, a 4-hour window is totally fine. Even in the 4-hour window, you're going to be losing tons of weight. So in that 4-hour window, you can eat whatever you want and not have to count calories. Fasting is actually such a huge component that I'm going to be mentioning later in the video today as another tip. It's going to be a little bit different, but it is so fundamentally large in being able to lose weight without counting calories that it's actually a part of another tip. That is actually going to lead me into step number 2. Now, step number 2, I am going to be sharing with you, but before I go into that, let's talk quickly about calories in and calories out.
It has never been about calories.
Now, the conventional method is that it doesn't matter what you eat or what, only thing that matters is the calories in that you take and versus the calories out, meaning what you burned off or what your body naturally burns during the day. That's the conventional wisdom. I am going a little bit unorthodox,
considering more unorthodox solutions,
because I'm not going to be arguing that that's not true. What I'm arguing with it is that it's much easier said than done. Because what you eat can raise your blood sugars, could actually affect your insulin sensitivity, and down the road make it harder for your body to work. Now, we want to make our body in the tip-top shape and make it optimal, and I believe to truly do that, you don't actually need to count your calories, but you need to do some sort of time-restricted eating.
That makes sense.
So the whole way that this is going to work, again, is based off tip number 1. Now, I'm going to go into tip number 2, and tip number 2 is that you're actually walking a minimum of 10,000 steps every single day. Why is it important to walk 10,000 steps every single day? Well, there's a ton of new studies that have been coming out. I'm actually going to be linking them in the description. I'm not going to go too deep in them, but I highly recommend that you read them. 10,000 steps a day is really, really great for you on multiple facets. And the best thing I think about walking is you're not going to get super tired. You're not going to overtire yourself. And that's where people make the mistake of going to the gym and they really try to go hard and they try to burn as many calories as they possibly can. And they come home and they overeat. And that overeating then becomes a snowball effect where they're not able to continuously lose weight because they're always pushing themselves way too hard at the gym. So if you're walking 10,000 steps a day, low impact, you're not going to have those hunger spikes that you typically would do. Now, I recommend that you try to walk multiple times a day. As soon as you wake up, go for a quick walk. Maybe at lunchtime you go for a walk, and then after dinner you go for another walk. At the end of the day, if you don't walk every single day, that's okay. Just try to make it up some other time during the week. Now, you can also go for runs as well too if you find that better. But at the minimum, 10,000 steps a day is going to be crucial on you losing weight. Now, that's going to lead me actually into step number 3. Step number 3 is very important, so you better listen to this one, because if you don't listen to this one, you're at huge risk of not actually being able to lose weight. So what step number 3 is, you actually need to cut out all of the processed foods.
Supposed to do the processing. We don't leave the processing to these corporations.
Now, I'm not saying you can't eat it once in a while, but mainly in your diet, you need to be cutting out the processed foods. So anything, if you read the back of the label, has multiple ingredients that you don't understand. Any dyes or added coloring is not good. Any added sugar, fructose, that is not good. You want to avoid that as much as possible. You want to stick to eating whole foods. Eggs, avocados, sweet potatoes, vegetables. You can have fruit as well too. You're not counting calories. I would typically save the fruit for at the end of the meal once you've, almost like a dessert, but that's okay. You can have it. And yes, once in a while having that dessert is fine as well too if you want to have a piece of cake. But your really main meal should be consisting of real food, brown rice, chicken breast, any type of meats. Just pile up that plate and eat that real whole food. You want to stay away from the processed food, because what ends up happening is that processed food absolutely kills your gut. And the only way that we're going to be able to lose weight consistently over a long period of time is that we have a strong gut health. And that gut is so important. We need to be feeding it with kimchi, with any type of stuff that's been fermented foods. Those are great as well too. Now, there's a ton of different things you can eat, but pickled foods are amazing as well too, as they are fermented. So you want to add a fermented food in your meal. But at the end of the day, tip number 3 is you gotta stay away from processed foods. So tip number 1 was you needed to have a fasting window of only 4 hours to 1 hour a day. Well, tip number 4 is actually another fasting tip, and that is incorporating an extended fast into your routine. Now, what that actually means is that you're doing a 48-hour to 72-hour water only fast. Now, when I say water only, you are allowed green tea and black coffee, no other calories. So that means for 48 to 72 hours, so 2 to 3 days, once to twice a month, you're actually doing an extended fast. Now, it's going to depend on how much you weigh. If you have a higher percentage of body fat, you can be doing a 72-hour fast twice a month. If you had a lower percentage of body fat, then you should only be doing a 48-hour fast twice a month, and potentially even once a month, depending on how low of a body fat percentage you are. I'm talking to people who have a lot of weight to lose, 50, 60 plus pounds. You can easily be doing 2 72-hour fasts a month. I typically like to do them alternating. So one week I'll do a 72-hour fast, the next week I won't, and then again I'll do another 72-hour fast, and then the next week I won't. This way it kind of shakes it up and helps me get through mentally. Now, the reason why I'm saying you need to be doing these extended fasts, because it brings me back to gut health.
Everything that is wrong with us is coming from in here.
This is going to help you recover your gut. Now, it's very important when you're doing these types of fasts that you do break them with the correct ingredients. And that actually takes me to step number 5. So right now I'm going to go over step number 5, and this really ties the bow onto everything, and that is having a good source of electrolytes and bone broth. Now, for electrolytes, I use Organika. There's a lot of different other electrolytes that I'll link down in the description. Pick whichever one you want, and even if you want, you can make them at home. All you really need is 3 things: sodium, potassium, magnesium. There are companies out there that are able to mix all this up and put it in a drink powder form for you so that you can easily have it. There's 0-calorie ones, and then there are some that do have some calories. The ones that do have some calories, you do not want to be having while you're doing this fast. Now, if you're going to be going for a longer fast, like let's say plus 3 days, then yes, you can have some electrolytes that even have a little bit of calories in them. They might take you out of the fasting for a short period of time, but you're going to be right back in because it's such a low amount of calories that you're taking. Or if you're like me, I just don't like to have any type of calories until I'm breaking my fast. Now, if I'm doing a 5-day fast, I will have some electrolytes on my day 3. But if I'm just doing a 3-day fast, I am not having any calories. What I will do is I will have a pinch of pink Himalayan salt. Very important that you're able to get your electrolytes, but on top of that, it's very important that you're getting bone broth. Bone broth is super important. So when I'm breaking my fast, I typically will have a glass of bone broth. Now, there's 2 different types of bone broth. You can make it at home or you can get store-bought. I'm going to link the store-bought in my description. So if you guys want to check it out, I've linked a couple different ones there. That way that you have an understanding of what bone broth is and how it's going to help you. Now, the way that it's going to be helping you is because it's packed with protein and it's much easier on your stomach. When you're breaking your fast, you need to be able to have something that's easy on your stomach, and bone broth does that. That is the reason why I've been able to lose 63 pounds in 6 months by following these steps. If you found any of this useful, hit that like and subscribe.